Hello, it's me again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Um, Minty Ray. Um, with time to talk honestly with Minty Ray. Um, welcome. I'm feeling a little something because I just recorded this whole video. I didn't have any sound, so let's just get back into it all. And I hope we can connect on some things today. First off, I have my handy 64 ounces of water here. I do my best to drink it every day. I don't drink it every day. I don't aim for perfection, but I do have some goals and targets that I do keep in my mind. Um, and they are there because I know the long term benefit to myself. And let me tell you what I'm afraid of. I am afraid of aging poorly. I think that's what I'm afraid of. I think those are the words. Um, and so I do all the things. So let's just get right into it. If you're a lady of a particular age, we're like a particular age, like my age, I'm 55 years old, if you don't know already. And so I try to drink 64 ounces a day. So if you have not drank your water for the day, while you're watching this video, grab you a 64-ounce bottle and try to chug it down, or at least get started. Um, or drink more. I don't know where you are with your water intake. And if you've already drank it, you deserve, that's like, good job. So in the last video, I was talking about that property tax situation where I'm still unsure how it is that the property tax office, I'm still curious about that. That still blows my mind. How the property tax office does not give medical emergency um, um, concessions. Like, they don't take that in consideration when. eh, And I wanted to talk about the stress of that. I kind of wanted to circle on that a little bit more. So I got a few things. I have some notes. So if you see me looking down, it's not because the approach isn't honest and the language isn't honest. It's just that I don't want to miss um, some things. And I don't want to miss some of these nuances. Um, and so what I was preparing to talk about was how stress from situations like that, how they can cause you to feel fatigue, um, and how stress can create, so much irritation in your body, um, and how stress can cause you to feel and look. It can cause us to feel and look older than we are. But as I was writing that, um, I I thought to myself, you know what else helps a lot? And so what I want to switch gears to is I want to talk about hormones. I want to shift to the impact of hormones on our bodies. Um, Probably in my 30s, I was went to the doctor, had a, just feeling glum. Went to the doctor, and the first thing that they did, so I guess that was probably, it's 25 now, so 25, 50 for 30. So say 2000s, like a little bit after sometime into the 2000s. And as you can see, I'm a beautiful black woman, so I'm not exactly sure how, but I can say that with, um, hold on a second, let's see. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that. Um, so probably my 30s, sort of since about 2020, about 2000, 2005. Lord, I can't do numbers. With something like around that time, numbers are escaping me right now. Um, is when I was in my 30s. Is that right? Something like that, 2005. And I went to my doctor, and, and this would come up for me on a few occasions, and he wanted to prescribe antidepressants, and the so craziest thing inside of my body. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm having an episode of, but I do feel depressed, but I just couldn't understand where it came from. Like I hadn't struggled with it before. I'm like, so anyway, that happened periodically um, throughout my life. Fast forward um, a few years ago. So we're in 25, maybe 23. I took off. I took um what we call, well, it was like just, I took some time off work. And when I took that time off, I I when I took off that time, I was like, I'm taking off for a while, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to get myself ready to transition into um, retirement. You know, it's probably like, so I feel like any good business takes at least 5 years or so. So I was like, let me start ramping up. Girl, I took off for a month with the intent of extending um, for 2 more months. So I was going to be off for a quarter. And then I stayed in bed the whole month. I was like, oh, this is not good. Still didn't know what to do. I still didn't understand it was my hormones that was just had me feeling blue. Um, so when that happened, I would say that my mind took the biggest hit. Um, I don't know that my body took a hit too. I think my body was still hanging in there, still looking, you know, pretty, you know, fit. Because I always was a pretty fit looking person. I mean, fit enough. I mean, like people see me and they say, "Are you a runner?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, not a runner." Um, so at any rate, I um um my mind took a hit. My body didn't take a really big hit. And so um and at that time, I'm looking at my notes trying to get my mind together. So just bear with me for a second. That pause got me out of my flow. But I'm gonna get back into it because I really want to have this conversation. And so something started to turn here, maybe just like recently, really, really recently. Um, and so now that they dug back into what was known as what is the Women's Health Initiatives, the research that the Women's Health Initiative put out some time ago. I think that was probably back sometimes in the 2000s. Well, mid to, I mean, early to mid 2000s. Um, there was a Women's Health Initiative, and it caused doctors and therefore patients to have a negative view of hormone replacement. And so now that doctors everywhere, so many doctors, not all of them, but you can find doctors now who are um, challenging that study. Um, um, Women are starting, women of a particular age, women of in my age, are starting to regain access to hormones, to hormone replacement therapy. Um, so I'm saying all that to say, to encourage all of my ladies to get their hormones checked. Let me say this. So there's benefit to knowing your hormones when you're at your peak level. So say in your maybe in your I think they peak like when you're around 25. So some would say that there's benefit to having your hormones checked at that time so that when you're older or as you age or as your hormones start to decline and you potentially begin taking hormone replacement begin taking hormones, um, you can replace closer to what is ideal for your body. Now, I don't know the science on that. I don't know if that's going to cause us to have to continue to have cycles. I don't know. Um, I don't want that. I don't want to risk being pregnant. So I don't know if that's really if that could happen if you replace at that level. But I will tell you that just having some hormone replacement, and you can work with your doctor to see what is the right level for you. I started off at a very low rate. 0.0375 was my initial rate, my initial dosage, and that has ramped up just a little bit. And I've only been on this therapy for several months now. So while we know that um, everybody's hormones decline, women's hormones, so it's not like you're crazy. We're not crazy. Um, um, we may be moody, but there's a list of symptoms that happen to women who are perimenopausal and who are in menopause. So men's hormones decline as well, but not nearly as fast, um, not nearly as drastic. Over their lifetime, their thing is more like this. Oh my God, more like this. Yeah, I mean, women's is more like this. I mean, it's just very, very, it is, and that drop um, affects us. There's so many symptoms related to it. I mean, so many symptoms. Frozen shoulder some people can be affected by that. Um, you're you have bone loss at a much faster rate when you don't have appropriate hormones in your body, like estrogen related hormones in your body. Uh, there's a there's a bunch of symptoms that could affect us when we have lower hormones. Um, so Um, so just find out if HRT is right for you. Have a conversation with your doctor if you find that you're having a hard time with your doctor. Seems that they may be turning the corner now. But if you find that you're having a hard time having that kind of conversation with your doctor, I started using MIDI Health. They're online. You can, you know, reach out to them. Through your phone and you know sign up. They do take most major insurances. So because of that, then you will likely have a good amount of coverage, and it's just the cost of a regular doctor's visit. Um, let's see. So when I addressed my hormones, that changed a lot for me. It didn't solve everything, but I was able to begin. This is so true. I was able to inhale and like feel myself get back into my body. It was like I didn't realize how much I felt like I was out of my body. But once I started taking my hormones, there's some other things that I started taking too. Um, I really started to feel like myself again. I'll tell you some other big aspects for me were supplementation. So I have some supplements, fitness and nutrition. Well, I'll look at it like this: fitness, HRT, hormone replacement therapy, um, fitness and nutrition, which includes supplementation. Um, a couple of main supplements I'll just throw out right here. And if you want me to talk about the supplements I take or anything like that, we can talk about that in another video. I'm happy to do that. Um, but the main ones that I take are creatine and magnesium. Because if you take creatine without magnesium and without drinking enough water, you will get cramps like you never, unless maybe you're an athlete or something, I don't know. But you'll have cramp. I had cramps that just did not have an explanation for. I mean, when I first started taking it, it would wake me up, get me up out the bed, and I would have to go. I had to hobble down to the kitchen to. But the benefits, the the mind benefits of taking creatine. Um, yeah, you can probably find some research on that on YouTube. The mind research that apparently creatine is the most studied supplement, and so it has its place um, in a supplementation protocol. Um, so creatine, magnesium, and what else do I take? That those are key things that I really try to take every day or something. I really make a point that those things are taken daily, because they have such a huge impact on my health. Um, so and I'll tell you about fitness too. So also, and this may be true for all of us, but in my 20s, I had no, or maybe this is true for the majority of us. In my 20s, I had no interest in working out. I couldn't see any benefit. I just didn't understand the benefit of working out. I'm like, I'll tell you, in part, let me tell you why. When I would work out in my 20s, I swear my body didn't look any different. So I just didn't have the motivation to do it. I was like, if I look like this now, hopefully somebody 20 in their 20s is watching this. But maybe like me, they won't. You like when I was in my 20s, you might find it hard to believe. But let me tell you, when I was in my 20s, I was like, I don't need to work out. What do I need to work out for? It's not doing anything for me. The only thing it's doing is making me tired. Well, now that I'm in my 50s, 55 to be exact, um, I can really feel the difference. So I work out now. Fitness for me now is about longevity. Um, because one of the things, I'll tell you the thing that is on my mind about aging, the thing that scares me about aging is aging, not aging well. I don't want to be a burden on my family. And maybe we can say that's an American approach, or a Western approach. where we don't want to be a burden on our family, or we don't expect anybody else to take care of us. Um, and I guess in that way, I'm not different. Um, I do expect that I do plan for myself, that I can still be powerful as I age. And so that means I have to start now, or at least start now. But it's a lot easier for me to start now because when I work out, I can tell the difference in how I think, how my mind is so much more focused. I'll tell you something else that happens to me. And you might say this sounds like junk science, but when I work out for a few days, my face even looks like I've had a facelift. I haven't worked out in a few days, but when the next time you see me after working out, I'm gonna bring it to your attention, and or maybe you bring it to my attention. But my face looks like I've had a facelift. Just one of those, just this little tiny one, little baby tiny facelift, not that dramatic one, but just a little baby tiny facelift. Um, my face looks like I've had a. I'm like, what is happening? So I have that benefit. I have my body looks and feels better. My mind feels better. And there's the benefit, the probably one of the most central benefits is bone density. Um, Muscles help with your bone density. So it's high on my radar. Um, so if you can relate to any of this, leave a comment. If you find that you are in the bed more than you want to be and you're of a particular age, then leave a comment. Also, don't just leave a comment. Consider having your hormone levels checked, and find a healthcare provider that can assist you, if you're interested, that can assist you in hormone replacement therapy. Um, Given that there's physician healthcare providers who are turning the corner on hormone replacement therapy. I'm just curious if you're finding more of that now, or if um, you're still suffering in silence. You know, being misdiagnosed, I had a frozen shoulder issue. I didn't know it was a hormone related. It could be a hormone related issue, but I tell you what, it's gone now. I mean, it's just, gosh, it's like, well, thankfully, we're at a place now that it's available to us. Um, and as long as it's serving me, and of course, I have to get my hormones checked because I'm doing this therapy. I have to get my hormones checked. I think I do it about every 3 or 6 months, 3 months. It's going to be 3 months. Well, my last doctor's appointment was so not more than 6 months. I get them checked, and if everything is looking good, if my health is still doing as well as it had been, then I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be doing it. And I'll tell you something else that's interesting. I'm curious whether, because it's happened in like the 2000s, I think our grandparents were probably on hormones. I think our grandparents were probably on hormones. So anyway, challenge me in the comments because I may be way off with that. But I think that's so because that study from the Women's Health Initiative came out in the 2000s, in that time frame. Maybe early to mid 2000s. So um, I don't think our parents were on it. but I feel like our grandparents probably were. So, at any rate, those are my thoughts. Take care of yourselves. Um, I also don't feel like it's nobody else's job to do that. So, um, take care of yourselves. You only got the one body. Um, so, thanks for letting me talk to you. Um, and I will see you. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you find it useful. And I will see you in the next video.